All right, everybody. Hey, we are back from our short break to bring on an amazing next guest. This lady, this doctor is absolutely amazing. I am loving listening to her rock star show, her podcast called the SOB Network, a radio network out there. It's the Spunky Open Brae, but she's often known as a spunky old broad, she likes to call herself, which is how I met her. Dr. Gayle Carson, no relation, just great people in great spots. Right, Dr. Gayle?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, we're so honored to have you. For those that don't know who Dr. Carson is, let's talk a little bit about your bio here. Dr. Gayle Carson, like many of us, has experienced endless moves and had many career adventures and hiccups along the way. One thing Gayle knew at a young age, she was born to coach entrepreneurs. Possessing that silver lining mentality has allowed her to build a company from 0 to 7 offices, travel globally as an international speaker, coach, and consultant, and produce over 24 books, CD, and DVD programs, and work with over 1,000 clients in 50 different industries. Coaching and speaking across the world, Dr. Gayle has always heard, how do you stay so positive? Where does that inner spunk come from? Did they say spunk? Well, she knew she wasn't a spring chicken. Having an open mind can make people reach for the broad word. So why not put this whole thing together, represent in a positive way 3 words that are typically negative? The spunky old broad, SOB philosophy was born. Dr. Gayle wanted to possess a distinct way to describe that fire in her belly, just seems to keep her going. So without further ado, we're glad to have you on Podcast Day 2018, Dr. Gayle Carson.
And I am delighted to be here, Scott. I want to thank you for doing this. It's absolutely fabulous.
Hey, no problem. We are so it's easy when we got great people coming together to do this. So just makes this a whole lot easier out there as well. But I know I've been excited to have you on here, to have you start talking about what you're doing and the power and the changes in people's lives that you're making out there all across the world.
Well, I hope I'm making changes. You never knew. No, people have to take that first step themselves, but I sure try to help them.
So why don't you talk a little about how your podcast or your show has maybe been the biggest surprise, or talk a little about your show first and foremost before we talk into surprises or nuggets, huh?
Well, first of all, I have 3 shows, but the one we're talking about today, I guess, is Women in Business. And the Women in Business show is for women who own their own business or are senior managers. And it talks about the obstacles they've overcome. Everybody thinks everything is miraculous, but it's far from it. And so we talk about the obstacles they've had to achieve, the balance that they've had to go through, the things that they've stumbled on, yet the successes that they're having too. And it's fabulous, all the women that I've met from all around the world who have done absolutely amazing things.
Yeah. What's probably been the biggest aha or nugget you've taken from working with your clients? What's been the biggest thing that just surprised you the most?
I think just the fact, the sheer determination, when everything has been going against them and everything's been taken away from them, they kind of rise up from the ashes and do the things that they were meant to do.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. Now, one of the great things, I'm going to ask you back on your question. People always ask you, how do you keep such a great positive mindset? What's your tricks? What's your tools or things that you do on a daily basis to stay positive mindset?
Well, first of all, I work out every day. I started this morning with a workout. I'm a kind of a workout freak. So number 1 is working out. Number 2, I love animals. And I have just now 2 cats because I can't have dogs where I am right now. And when I sit and I stroke those cats in my lap, and they sleep with me every night, one under one arm, one under the other arm, it's sheer heaven. So I just adore animals. And the third thing is, there are always 2 ways to look at everything. Mm-hmm. Yes or no. I prefer yes. And that's what keeps me going.
That's a good point. There's always ways to look at things. One thing we have living in our office is if something goes wrong, we only have 30 seconds to gripe about it, and then we got to move on.
Well, that's funny that you say 30 seconds because people always ask me, don't you get depressed? And the answer is sometimes, but 30 seconds, that's it. And then all of a sudden I find something else to focus on, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. So talk about what's some of the biggest things that you love working with entrepreneurs, with what you're doing? What's kind of your biggest thing that you love seeing the most take place?
What I love seeing taking place is the difference that what they have done in their lives has meant. Now, I do 2 other shows, one which is Living Regret Free, where I work with people that show you how to have a happier, better life. The other one is Women Over 50. And I find that's a whole other deal because, when people get to 50, especially women, they think, it's over. And it's not over. It is just beginning. And there's so much more that you can do. And I pride myself on being able to I say I'm in my 12th reinvention by this time. And so it's constantly changing. And I guess what I get a thrill out of is when they say, this is where I want to go, and we get there. And we get there because they do the work. I help with the advice, but they do the work.
That's an important thing, is them taking the steps to get the work done.
Exactly, yeah.
Somebody mentioned earlier on about how we're the answer to our biggest hurdles. I think it was Amy Schumer that talked about that, about how we hold the key to really, we are each other, everybody's savior, I guess you could say. Our own savior is ourselves. It's just a matter of taking action and being coachable by people out there, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you're learning, I'm learning. That's the whole point, is that what is amazing to me, for instance, when we met with all the other podcasters, everybody is learning and everybody's trying to get better and everybody's doing something that will, excite them. And when you lose that, you lose everything. So that's what I love about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs just keep discovering. And when they stop, that's when they quit.
Mm-hmm. Now, with you working, having the show, Women Over 50 show, what are some of the things that you're seeing are probably the biggest blocks for people looking to rediscover themselves at 50 or older?
You're not going to believe this, but a lot of it is they've got these old tapes running around in their heads. And I have met people and worked with people who were still being controlled by things that their mother said 30, 40 years ago. And that just drives me crazy. Now, luckily, I had a wonderful mom who really was my biggest mentor. I mean, I really developed my whole value system from her. But a lot of people have been told, you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And it sticks with them. I've worked with people that are still hearing that echo in their head, and that's the biggest stumbling block.
So how do you quiet mama?
Not an easy task, but you really have to work on their own self-esteem. That's the key. If they can build up their own self-esteem, if they can build up their own value in their eyes, that makes all the difference in the world.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So let's talk. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing, or that you're seeing besides the mental thing? Is it what people think of an older age force, or people think of themselves or what they're capable of, or they think they just can't learn new things? What are some of the biggest hurdles that you see people out there?
Well, for women, especially women who are aging, first of all, it's an interesting thing when we work women versus men. Women assume they can't do something. Men assume they can, even though they can't, and they just go ahead, and if they flub up, they flub up. Whereas women want everything to be perfect before they do it. So the important thing is, again, that self-confidence. But I would say mostly it's getting into their minds and their heads and getting them on the right track. And when they see a small achievement of success, then they're willing to go that little extra step.
That makes sense. A little bit of success can go a long way to getting that ball rolling, right? What are some of the easiest things that people can do to kind of start building that little bit of a success?
Put your toe in the water, try something. And unless somebody says, stop, keep going. I mean, I was just at an event and there were only 3 people who were asked to speak on TV. And this was just 24 hours ago. And I was at this event and I was one of the 3. Now, how did that happen? Yes, I was in the right place at the right time and I can do something like that on camera. But I also went up to the organizer and I said how happy I was to be there, and so forth and so on. And we happened to be walking towards the same place. And she said, would you like to do a TV spot right now? Because we're filming. And I said, yeah. And we did what was called Business Orlando Live. And so that's what I did. So it's a matter of, taking advantage of what happens when it's right in front of you and not saying, no, I can't do it.
It's saying yes and find a way to make yes happen, huh?
Exactly.
No, take no prisoners. Don't take no for an answer there for you.
And that's why I'm the SOB. That's why I'm the spunky old broad, because I will take that step, I mean, absolutely amazing, and that's the key to everything, taking advantage of what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely gotten a lot easier out here in the last few years with social media and podcasting and things like that. What's been the biggest surprise from your three different podcasts that helped you with your business and helped you with your coaching entrepreneurs?
I think the fact that they can get visibility, so they like it because they're put on the spot right then and there. I give them a feed to their website, so they've got something that says, yes, I've been on media, yes, I've been interviewed, yes, I am considered the expert. So I've helped them get the notoriety that they need to take their next step, and they're happy for that. So I think that's the biggest thing that's happened with the podcast.
Any surprise nuggets that were kind of caught you off guard?
Oh, where do we start, right? I mean, a lot of things are revealed that you didn't think were going to be said, and you just got to go with them. And it's always interesting to me what people will reveal when they're doing an interview that they probably have never told anybody in their whole life, and it's probably going out to the world at that point. And so, yeah, there's been a few things, that are a little bit risque, a little bit negative, a little bit maybe they shouldn't tell anybody, but then we kind of have fun with it.
Any specific stories that you want to share?
No, I better not if I don't want to get into trouble.
Well, just curious about if anything's been shared on the show, stuff like that. That's the.
Well, yeah, I mean, there have been romantic entanglements that have been shared. There have been sabotage by bosses and coworkers that have been shared. And I think, and that always amazes me. I mean, everybody that you're working with today, Scott, we're a team. We're working together. How can people be in a company and not be a team? Why do they try to sabotage each other? This is just always amazing to me because I'm a team player. So I think that I'm always shocked by that.
That's a really good point there, is that I think maybe a lot of the times the traditional JOBs, like we talked about this before, get stuck to you get used to doing something there. And I think the whole 40-40-40 plan myth is a myth now these days. And people that are breaking away to launch their own thing, to take that step out of their comfort zones, to launch their own business, their own podcast, or do something away from corporate America. I think a lot of people get jealous about that, even bosses or the higher ups. And I've seen it happen a few times with some of my friends and colleagues. They get, they thought they had the support, and then they get sabotaged or the rug pulled out from underneath them. It's unfortunate, huh?
I'm a person who has never worked in corporate America. I've worked with corporate America doing coaching and speaking and consulting and things like that. But I've never worked for anybody. I've had my own jobs all my own life. And I started working at the age of 13 when I had broken 22 pair of glasses. And my father said to me, if you break one more pair, young lady, you're going to buy them. And I went to the optometrist, picked up my 23rd pair, came down. He was waiting by the curb, put the glasses on the seat of the car and sat on them. And so the only thing available to a 13-year-old was babysitting, which I thought was the pits. And so it was the 50s, and I looked through the newspaper, and there were jobs, and I decided I would make a perfect Avon lady. And I started selling Avon cosmetics door to door at 13 and became the top salesperson in the whole area. And it was because I loved people. I loved knocking on doors. People were home. They let me in. Once I sat down on that couch, that was it. I wasn't leaving till they bought. So, they all did have to buy because they couldn't get rid of me. But I mean, so I've never, ever worked for anybody. I've always created my own jobs. And so when I see what goes on in corporate America and the processes, I mean, the length of time it takes to get an okay or to change a procedure or to make something new happen is always amazing to me, which is why entrepreneurs have such an edge today. When they even build companies, big or small, if they've still got that entrepreneur's mentality, things happen.
That's so true. There's a few times, it's always the biggest thing I hear. Oh, yeah, it takes forever to get something changed around here. Why? It should not take it. It works. Let's get it fixed and move on and, go from there. It's not, we're all to make something better here. We're all working together
Exactly.
to create solutions. There was a question I was going to ask you that how have you helped people overcome that obstacle of stepping out of their comfort zone? What's one of the best tips you can give to people to overcome their mental hurdles, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not young enough, or I'm not blonde enough, or brunette enough, or whatever, or what's some of the things that you've helped people with to overcome those, that I'm not good enough?
Well, you know the old adage, you start with the end in mind. Where do they want to go? And then work backwards. And then what I try to do is find some itty bitty little step that they can take that will be a win for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they've got that, we can move on to another itty bitty step, and so on it goes. And then once they've had these small wins, they're willing to try something a little bit bigger. So it's a matter of building up their confidence and letting them know, yeah, you can do this. Now, I have to tell you, I am blunt. And so I'm not a very good, I'm not the kind of coach that says, oh, we'll get through this. Everything will be fun. I love telling people what to do. So if you're going to get coached by me, I'm going to tell you what to do. And if you don't do it, then there's no excuse. You're not doing the work and you're not going to be successful. One of the things I pride myself on is I teach people how to get on television. And they think, oh, man, it's just so simple. No. There's a whole process. There's a whole procedure. There's a whole way you do it. You really have to have your message down pat. And if you don't work at it, it's not going to happen. And it isn't overnight. I mean, to try to get these producers on the phone, which they don't answer anymore, and then you have to find out their cell so you can text them. Some of them read emails, some of them don't. I mean, it goes on forever. But if you keep at it, you get on.
Those are some great points there about staying consistent to following up. Definitely, because it doesn't happen overnight. Michelle Schaefer on here. It's a great conversation. That collaborative mindset in podcasting is one reason I love it. It's very different from than a lot of environments where it is all competitive and often sabotage. It's awesome. Laura Blanc, it helps to get things changed if you can sit down with the actual decision maker. Again, entrepreneurs have the edge when it comes to that. It's a good point there. We have another question here, comment here. Elaine Nieberding, I think I pronounced it correctly. Is there one huge leap of a woman over 50 you've interviewed that has most inspired you?
Yes. The fact that they do things that they've never done before. For example, I have a woman on my network, the SOBradionetwork.com. She's 84 years old. She is fabulous. And they love her so much in her community. She lives in Washington State, that they have her do her broadcasts from the community center, because so many people come to listen to her do this. And she never did this before. But she's got such a great sense of humor, and she's 84 years old. So the point is that you don't know till you try. And the whole point about being over 50 is you've lived your life. You've raised kids, you've survived marriage, you've gotten over some illnesses, you've worked, you kept a home going. I mean, there's 1,000 things you've done that you don't give yourself credit for. So yes, you just have to decide, what is it I want to do? A lot of people don't have any idea what they want to do. So if they just maybe volunteer in what they'd like to do, see a little bit of it, then they know whether it's for them. It's like people who go to college for 4 years and then they decide they don't want to do what they were trained for.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I mean, you spend all this money going to school and then you get out, you don't like the job you got. So,
Exactly. I love it that you said survived marriage. Well, it is kind of that.
I was lucky. I was happily married for 45 years till my husband passed away. So I was one of the lucky ones. But still, it was work. It was work. Because we argued about the kids, who's going to do what. Or my husband was an enabler and I was the disciplinarian. And we argued about money. Where was it going to go? And why were we spending it on this and not that? I mean, stupid stuff, But when it's going on, it's important.
Amen to that. Exactly. It's all about communication. It is work to be in relationships. It's definitely ups and downs and peaks and valleys, stuff like that. As long as you keep that in mind, you can survive it and move on. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, but congratulations on the 45 years together. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Elaine L says, broadcasting at age 84, amazing reveal. Thank you very much out there. You mentioned something that really dawned a question I wanted to ask here as we're going through. Oh, so that's a big thing is people are gone to college, they've gotten married, or they've graduated kids that redeveloping themselves, redefining their image, redefining who they think they are, what they want to be. What are some tips that you would tell to people to do if they're looking, they're in that kind of age of awakening, I guess you could say, not the midlife crisis, but the maybe the empty nester or the after 40 or the up on 50, trying to figure out who they are. What are some things that they can do to help themselves?
Well, I think, first of all, if it's something that you want to do that you've never done before, then either apply as an apprentice, or an intern. It sounds crazy, but remember that Robert De Niro film?
I was just thinking that, exactly, yeah.
I mean, it was great. It was really great. And he became a mentor to the kids. But I would think that, if it's you want to go visit, let's say you want to go to Italy. You've never gone to Italy. Well, what about taking a language course, learning the little basics, find out if it's something that, do you really want to do this? Number two, try to find out, interview some people who are in the job that you would like to have. What is really going on? Is it really the glamour you think it is? But the most important thing would be to volunteer, to learn also the new skills that you might need for that particular job, because things are changing so fast. I mean, what happened 3 years ago is not current today. So learning the skills that you need to, and also remembering the times in your life that you did win. What were the honors you received? Did you ever get a trophy for anything? Did a teacher ever say, wow, you're fantastic at? Remember those times, because right now you're saying, nobody wants me. There's ageism. I'm not necessary. Let me tell you something. The people over 50 have the best work ethic of anybody out there. So you've got to prove yourself to them. And if you go to a company and they say you're too old, which they can't officially say, but they'll find a way to do that, that's not the company for you. Right. Go somewhere where you're going to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. You mentioned something earlier about being direct and not having, kid gloves with everybody. I think that's a great thing. I love that, because when I want to coach, or I'm dealing with a mentor, I want them to just give it to me straight. Tell me what I'm growing. Am I the biggest issue? Because I think a lot of people get so used to kind of lying to themselves, they can't look themselves straight in the eye when it comes to finding success, or at the end of the day or the front of the day when they're starting something new. Being direct, I think, is one of the biggest strengths, and being able to accept that and realize it's coming from a place of love and coaching, right?
Well, I'm getting paid for what I do. If you want to continue to pay me to give you false advice, I don't want that. I want to know that when you're paying me money, that the advice I give you is something that is worthwhile. It's going to make a difference in your life for you, and you're going to get where you want to go.
Good point. Yeah. If you want to keep paying me to lie to you, I will, but doesn't mean I want to do it. Waste my time with you, because you want to see results too, right?
Right.
We got some love from Michelle Schaefer out there online here. Christina Fuller says, okay, I feel like I'm starting my life again, and the sky's the limit. So I love your energy, Dr. Gayle.
Oh, well, thank you.
Christine lives just south of here, just south of Austin here. Definitely do some great things out there as well there for you. Where are you going? Where do you see yourself going in the next 12 months with the different shows that you're doing? Any big goals for your podcasts?
Well, yeah, I've been asked to create something for NPR, so that's something that I'm really excited about. Number two, of course, you're always trying to build your audience, and you're always trying to get new people to listen to you, so that's it as well. And I want to build my radio network, the SOB radio network, with women 50 plus. Who are doing amazing things. I want to give them the opportunity. I would love this network. I have got about 20 people now, but I'd love to have 40 people who are showing women 50 plus how to do something they never thought of before.
So if you're listening there, somebody who's out there who's changing their lives, are doing something amazing. 50 plus ladies, have them reach out to Dr. Gayle out there and see if they make the cut there for you, right? I'm going to throw that out there for you to help you, because that's a great goal to have. Double it. But I think you can do more and just add 20. I think you can add some more than that, but that's a good number 4 to start off with. Good start off with. Good stuff out there. What is the best way for people who want to work with you? Is there a best way to contact you? Is there kind of a screening process that you go through as well?
Well, first of all, they can go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com. They can email me at Gayle Carson, that's Gayle, Gayle Carson 13 at gmail.com. They can get in contact with me that way. And then I have,
Awesome.
a couple of things that your listeners might be interested in. I
Please.
have a mindset program. They can go and get a little snippet of it at www.sobmindset.com. And then I have another one for people who are interested in TV, which is www.6sob6tips.com.
Awesome. And we'll be sending the list of everybody that's RSVP'd out there, so we can email it out to everybody that registered for this as well there to you. Because look, great stuff, guys. I was peeking into it because she sent me the link earlier on. Great stuff. You're gonna love it. Get registered for it. We'll share the links out there as well to everybody so you can take advantage of it. But definitely take the opportunity. Reach out to Dr. Gayle. Just an absolutely great person, and absolutely one of the people I've enjoyed meeting the most from New Media Summit is
That's
you, Dr.
just because we have the same last name, Scott.
That's right. It's a great name.
And not only that, Scott's my son. So
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Remember, I've got a son named Scott, so I can't complain. And
Can't
I want to
complain.
thank you for everything that you've done today for everybody.
No problem at all. Let's see. We got some questions, comments here. Elaine else is thrilled to get to know Dr. Carson. Better preparing to launch live stream show with podcast distribution. Woohoo! I'm 66. She says that's awesome.
You're a baby.
Good stuff out there. All right. Hey, Dr. Gayle, we'll let you get back to your Sunday afternoon. I want to thank you for being a little early, but also being here at Podcast Day 2018. It's always nice to have you and visit with you. All righty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. Let's see. Boom.